My name is Floyd Jr. I'm the sheriff of Shelby County. Some of the challenges that we face, or I face as being the sheriff of Shelby County, first comes to mind is crime. That's the concern that all of our citizens have here in Shelby County, and trying to handle the jail process. Our jail is a huge component of my job. We house inmates here at 201, as well as juvenile court and jail lease. That population is always going up and down, and managing that with our correctional staff is a huge challenge at times. Specialized units, having enough manpower, all these things are challenging each and every day. Well, a lot of times we all know about crime here in our community, but crime to me has a three component. There's crime, there's poverty, then there's education. And I think all three go hand in hand. So when you talk about the crime problems here in Memphis and Shelby County, you also have to consider the poverty levels. You also have to consider the education that our children are receiving in school. So I won't necessarily say that we zero in on just focus on one particular area, but those three areas are huge here in Memphis and Shelby County. And I think the better the education system gets, the reduced levels in poverty, and when poverty reduces, then crime will reduce. It's not always about putting everybody you can in jail. I don't think we can arrest our way out of the problems and the situations that we have. So I think we've got to take a 2-3 prong approach, if you will, if we want to see things better here in Shelby County. Well, my first order of business when I was first elected was to prepare my staff, or to decide who was going to be in what positions in our appointed staff. I tried to put the best people around me naturally, people with experience, people that know the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, that have been around for a while. So that was a challenge, and I feel like I have some good officers, really good officers around me. My staff I'm very proud of, is the law enforcement side as well as the corrections side. Well, I don't know what my legacy will be. I guess the futures will tell that. But what I would like people to remember me as is being someone that was fair, that did it the right way, came up through the ranks. Here, this is my 40th year at the Sheriff's Office. 2020 is my 40th year. But I've worked for a lot of sheriffs, and never, I guess earlier in my career, I never dreamed that I would one day be the sheriff. But I want to be fair. I've seen so much go on in this department and in this agency, things that I've been very, very proud of. And I want to be a part of it, and that's why I ran for the job, and certainly appreciate the public instilling their trust in me. But I think my legacy, I don't think about that each and every day as to how I will be thought of, and people will talk about it later on as that whether they thought I did a great job, a good job, or whatever. But I guess time will tell what my legacy will be. But I do want to make a difference here in this community, and I think that's why I spend so much time in the community now, speaking to young people. We've got to change the look. And being an African American sheriff and speaking with young African American kids, you would hope one day that one kid will say, hey, I'd like to do that one day. I'd like to be a sheriff deputy, or maybe even I'd like to be the sheriff one day. So it's always about being a role model and trying to do the right thing. I think our agency is moving forward technology-wise. We're always looking to do it a different way, a better way, if you will, to serve the citizens of Shelby County, and also being financially responsible. We have a huge budget here at the Sheriff's Office, and it's important to me that we spend our money wisely, and that our officers in corrections and law enforcement do the right thing all the time. Growing up, being the oldest of 4 children, my dad was a Memphis Police Department officer, and I tell the story quite frequently that when he was on the Memphis Police Department, African American officers were not allowed at the precincts. So when my dad would go to work at night, when he was working the night shift, we only had one car. And my dad wanted my mom to have the car in case one of the four children got sick during the night and she needed to take us to the hospital. I can remember us going to Danny Thomas and Crump at the Mack truck parking lot where my dad was dropped off, and white officers would bring him his patrol car. And I remember telling Dad one day that, hey, you must not be a police officer because you never go to the police station. You know, you always go to this parking lot, if you will, to get your patrol car. And I could remember the hurt in his face in trying to explain it to me as a young man, as a young kid, as to, you know, hey, we're not allowed to go to the precinct. You know, they have to bring us our cars. And he actually started his patrol shift from that parking lot. So things have changed, all for the better, but these are things that I can remember back in the 60s when my dad was coming on at the Memphis Police Department. When you start talking about the men that came before me, the African Americans that paved the way for me, the things that I'm able to do and accomplish now, and even hopes that I can pave the way for future generations. But I still feel like I'm standing on their shoulders because I can remember just so many things happening in this city, being here all my life, and seeing what African Americans have had to go through and endure, if you will, and for us to come full circle now to where I have this opportunity to sit in this seat. I don't take it lightly, and I know it was because of the men and the women that came before me, the things that they had to endure, and I'll always feel like I'm standing on their shoulders because they paved the way for me, just as I hope that one day I'll pave the way for a young person behind me. People ask me this because I'm a junior and, you know, he's senior. But when I was a kid, people used to ask me all the time, oh, how are you going to be a police officer like your dad? This was not the profession that I wanted to go in. I was really a science geek. I really liked science and biology and things like that. And I always thought I would do something in the science field. So I was kind of floundering. You know how kids come out of high school, you don't quite know where you want to go in life or how to get there, more importantly. And so my dad asked me about becoming a deputy sheriff. And I said, well, I'll do that. He said, well, until you decide what you want to do, why don't you try this? And so I applied, took the job, got the job, took the job, and fell in love with it. I think maybe that's what I would want my legacy to be, that I left the Shelby County Sheriff's Office better than it was when I got here, or when I even took this seat. That is very important to me, to leave it in better hands, if you will. So we'll see what happens, and we work extremely hard at it each and every day. I don't take the position that I'm in lightly at all. What the citizens have meant to me and my family, and so I don't take my position lightly. So I think that's another part that maybe they say, you know what, Sheriff Bonner was a good sheriff, and we know he did the best that he could do for the community. I've got some stories that I'll take with me forever, and the people I've met along the way, the citizens that I've helped, that I know I've helped doing this job. And I think that's one of the things too that a lot of people just don't think about being a law enforcement officer. This is such a people person kind of job. You gotta want to help. You gotta want to be around people, and I enjoy people so much. I enjoy meeting new people, talking to people, and certainly helping people. So I think that's one of the criterias in coming into this job. You know, you gotta want to help. You gotta want to serve your community, and I enjoy serving this community. My name is Floyd Bonner Jr. I'm Sheriff of Shelby County, and this is my story.